video. The Big Hash as well, you know, he got his buzz when he got on Hash's song, and everybody was in there wearing Cotton Club t-shirts. Granted, yes, obviously, I mean, Ricky has the leverage of being able to say, yo, rock these t-shirts,
of course.
look good for his brand, but still, I mean, the cosign,
of course.
Look at how he is now. I mean, so many people don't even know who the Big Ash is, but we're talking about someone with over 30,000 followers on Instagram.
Which is the core
You know what I'm
following,
saying?
yeah?
You're talking about someone who's dominating the East right now. You know, I mean, so it just shows like
it's
no
very
one's
funny.
their neck out for the future and everything like Ricky has.
Of course, it's very funny because we could call Ricky a walking record label. because how many artists did Ricky give us? He gave us Frank Casino, he gave us PK, he gave us Big Hash, he gave us J Molly, he gave us so many kids that are running the game.
Which is what I find astounding when on the interview with Slicky he said like, nah, you know, you can't say that he's been in the music business. But then Slick obviously broke it down and said, nah, man, like, you're a walking business.
Of course.
Like that, your business is you.
Yeah.
Like your business, the leverage you have is the fact that you are Ricky Rick, you have this audience, you have this relevancy. And for me, I think that's really the core. And for me, that's something that's long lasting.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, because we may only still to this day like still listen to, you know, Ricky's one album, Family Values, and reminisce like, oh man, I want another Wonder Years, or I want another this or that, because his peers, that's probably the only medium that they can excel at, right?
Of course.
Because you can't deny that, like I said, I don't believe Ricky's the most talented musician or the most talented this rapper or whatever the case may be, but he's definitely the most talented social person or the most talented curator in the industry.
Yeah.
Because, and that's what he does to kind of like spread his legacy, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't believe someone like Casper, aka Questa to a certain extent, KO, whoever, can connect to the streets or the audience the way Ricky does. And not only connect for them to praise them as a solo artist, but for them to embrace the entire industry. I don't think there's anyone else like that. And that's something we'll always remember Ricky Rick for, you know. And he doesn't have, you know, multi-platinum records to
that shit doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
because he broke the gate down.
I feel like you know, like just so we can close the Ricky Rick thing. I feel like we need to give Ricky Rick more respect because he is responsible for the second fold of hip hop.
Yeah,
he is responsible for, because I mean the first fold. Look, we can give respect to Ghetto Raf, we can give respect to Abuzola, we can give respect to Pro Kid and them, right? They did their thing, WHP, Motswako, all of that, right? But the second fold of hip hop is one man. And that's what's phenomenal about Ricky Rick, because the first fold, it wasn't a culmination of people. You had WHP with the Motswako gang, you had Ghetto Raf with Zola and them, you had Proverb and Tumi and Zabs and them, right? The English medium rappers, the AKAs, right? But the second fold of South African hip hop, which is really running the streets, right, and really pulling in numbers on these SoundCloud plays, give thanks to Ricky Rick. That's all we gotta say. Give thanks to Ricky Rick.
And I mean, on that part, then, that's why, I mean, that's, when I think about that, right, and like now how the industry is really breaking up, it's kind of like, is it about popularity and, you know, being perceived as, you know, the undisputed champ of your industry, meaning the top guy, or is it really about, you know, making the most out of your core? Because I don't want to make it, because we're going to talk about Aries, but I don't want to make it a Aries versus someone else type of thing, because I really just want to focus on Aries without talking about other people. But for me, I think what Ricky Rick has also done, which is something I would say T-Dub, the government has, you know, capitalized on, is people being able to focus on their core, man.
That's all that.
People being, like, you still being able to make your money, do your thing without necessarily
being commercialized.
Without selling your soul, you know, because I honestly believe that when Ambitious let go of Aries, Benchmark, they probably thought these guys are done. There's no way. Because really, it wasn't moving the way it was supposed to.
It was
move,
supposed to.
right?
Especially after Paradise.
Under the label, yes, we know, like, we can speculate as much as we want, but I mean, dog, almost every fifth song you'd watch on MTV or Channel O at some point was like some ambitious thing.
Yeah.
So even though they had all that visibility and they had all that exposure, Aries, especially Benchmark was probably the worst case scenario, which is crazy because when you look at what they've been able to do now, even with their latest album,
compared to what they were doing when they were signed, it's like, why were you there?
Like, what happened?
Why were you there?
What was happening?
That's you see, one thing that we tend to forget, right, as people within the industry, is that hip hop, when it started back then, now I'm not trying to give you all the history lesson, but hip hop, when it started 46 years back, right, in New York, it didn't start with the music. It started with the culture. And
100%.
What Ricky Rick and more specifically T-Dub, the government, is that they focused on the culture. Because if you look at Aries, for example, right? Matter of fact, let's even go into it. If we look at Aries, right? When they sold us, before he even got signed, Aries took out a song called Casper's Trophies, right? I don't know if you remember that song, but I think it was like, he was 16 years old. This was 2014. Casper had just won, I think, his first SA Hip Hop Award.
It was a year, I think he picked up like 24 awards in 1
year. Yeah, right. And he posted them online, and then thingy, Klochi.
Right. You call Aries by his government
name.
Oh my
right?
God.
Went on and he recorded a track called Casper's Trophies, and at the time it was kind of like,
who's this guy?
And I remember Casper put him on, right? Casper put him on like, yo, thank you for this. This is dope. Blah blah blah. Right? This is 2014. Right? Fast forward 2 years later, I believe, maybe 3, he gets signed. Right? And obviously, remember when we were sitting with Benchmark, his brother had explained how he got signed to Ambitious. Like, oh no, I got a little brother, and that little brother happened to be Aries. Right? Looking at the trajectory of that, right, to Ambitious, and putting it side to side with the trajectory of him after Ambitious, you start realizing the difference. Right? And follow me when I say this. Aries' path, right, was supposed to be, this is the start. He was supposed to be the Nasty C.
Of course. That's how they were trying to package it.
Because he was, first of all, he was co-signed by the biggest artist at the prime of the biggest artist. Right? That's first of all. Second of all, he got signed.
You have to say who that is.
Oh, which is Casper.
Yeah.
Right. And then, second of all, after that, 2 years later, right, when we had forgotten about him, he got signed by, at the time, the biggest, the most busiest label in the land.
Yeah.
Right.
The most,
like,
recognized,
bro,
like
death row. Ambitious was death row.
100%.
Right. He got signed by Ambitious. His first single was next to the guy
that
in that hot red spot.
Yeah.
At that moment in time, which was MT.
Yeah.
His single hit. Right. He came through with second single. Had Natasha, what's homegirl name? Natasha Tahano, whatever.
Yeah, on the video.
On the video, of which homegirl.
That was that Ngani song, ne?
Of which homegirl was hot.
Yeah,
she was streets.
On what those shows.
Yeah, Scheme Sound. Right? She was hot in the streets.
Yeah.
Right? That was the second single.
Yeah.
Right? And then I don't know if there was a third single.
Yeah, no. He
what was the third single?
He did a Sebenza song with Amanda Black.
Oh, yes.
Where it was like,
yes,
they're in a relationship. He's kind of blown up, but then he also did a Zimbali joint.
Zimbali, of which Zimbali had the street shaking.
Yeah,
Zimbali is my shit.
I remember when it first came out, I played it for you. You said you didn't fuck with it.
Yes, I remember. I was like, nah, I'm not messing with this. Zimbali is my shit, right? And then he had the one with Amanda Black, of which Amanda Black at that moment in time.
Yeah, she was wow.
She was like maybe the most revered vocalist in the land.
Nobody wanted that smoke.
Nobody wanted that smoke. Then you have Zimbali on top of that. Bro, first of all, how do you let go of that?
I don't know.
You understand? That's one. Second of all, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen after that?
Yeah.
Right? You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
So the best thing that Aries did, which I mess with right now, is that he ironically moved away but stayed, because he just rebranded. Oh no, I'm not clean no more.
No.
I'm from East Side. You
Where nigga fucking live?
Like, I'm from PTA.
Yeah.
I love smoking weed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Here are my boys. We can all rap. And that was his branding, and even the way he wrote his music became different.
I mean, the type of music.
The type of music.
And I think that for me was the biggest thing.
Having Mash Beats out there.
I mean, shout outs to Mash Beats for, you know,
Like,
just
the
capturing.
sample game.
Yeah.
Let's start with the sample.
Yeah, because one thing Mash Beats also does is that when you listen to, and Aries does as well, you listen to his music and the samples that Mash uses. For the younger guys, it gives them that, like, you know, when they listen to all the hits, talk about, man, you don't know what this
Yeah.
Now they can come in flaws and be like, you see what I'm listening to now?
You don't know
this
that.
is that. Like, this is that.
Exactly.
This is that intellectual.
And the old head can come
Can
and pick up the sample,
and
like,
be like, ooh, okay.
oh, you listen to that? Oh,
What's
let me tell,
happening?
this is the original.
Yeah.
And another thing that I realized about the young boy doing things is that if you contrast his music when he was ambitious, even the mixing, compared to the mixing, like they don't do that much mixing. They keep it greedy to the streets, right? Like they remind me of. You remember when MP3 phones just like first came out, right? Like they've got that. Yeah. They share their shit. Yeah. Like their fans
Bluetooth,
right?
Like
their fans move with Bluetooth 100%. And Fakaza.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing glamorous about that shit. No iTunes, no Spotify.
I mean,
nothing.
now everything is on iTunes, but it's kind of like that's the vibe about it.
That's
right?
exactly.
That's how shareable their stuff
their content is.
And for me, I think the greatest thing is that I think Ambitious saw the success of MT using that sound, that I guess that ATM sound,
sure.
that you know, African trap or whatever, and they tried to package everybody under that. They try to use that model for everyone, whereas it's like, yo, dude, the whole point of having labels about diversity and exploring different markets, right?
It didn't work.
It didn't work because look at the singles that Benchmark had under Ambitious,
and look at the singles they have right now.
I mean, it's like you go listen to Benchmark's album, their debut album. First song, Left the City, one of my favorite tracks from last year from all artists, international and local, because that song was just
that's a huge
I'm telling you right now, Left the City is a big song. It is such a real song to a point where it's like and because I know like TK, he does most of their production, right? Yeah. And I know he produced that song as well. You listen to that and you'd wonder like, how are those the same guys? Like, those can't be the same guys that made Bonang.
They were stifled.
Those can't be the same guys that, and to be honest, you can feel that energy because even when I interviewed them a couple of years ago, you could feel that some things they weren't willing to like just, you know what I mean? You could sense that there was a bit of like
there was reluctance,
a tug and pull between what they really wanted to do and so on and so on. And for me, I mean, you can't deny. I honestly do believe that the damage to their rep under Ambitious is still affecting them today because mainstream wise,
this is
benchmark.
Sure.
Mainstream wise, people are probably not, because the first thing they're thinking is, oh, those guys that made Bonang.
Yeah, they fell off.
Like, yeah, they're not thinking about, oh snap, let me go listen to
the new shit.
Because it's like, I was at work, I text, I G-chat my one homie and I'm like, yo, have you ever listened to Benchmark? He's like, oh, not really. I'm like, okay, cool. I send him the video because they just dropped the video for Left the City this past week. He G-chats me back, he's like, great job, amazing, whatever. And this is someone that, so that's the kind of reception they get from someone that's never been exposed to a Benchmark.
Yeah.
Because, and he's a musical writer, yo. He's someone that's very critical about music, very critical about people's videos. Even the video itself, very gritty, you know, documentary style, no performance vibe in it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
literally
yeah.
just capturing everything about, you know, what they've been doing and their whole journey, which I find is amazing because when you listen to their album as well, that's what it's about.
But here's an unpopular opinion again, right? Not to stay away from A. Reese and everybody, but here's one thing about Benchmark. Well, two, right? Two. One, I think Benchmark also stifles themselves as far as releasing music. I mean, if you look at the TRP formula, right? Look at people like Echo, Words, Flame. Most importantly, Flame. Because also, I don't want to count A. Reese because really, as we say, this trajectory was meant for him to be.
Yeah, I think he's transcended. He's definitely the poster boy.
He's the poster boy, and he's always been the poster boy of the young kids. No shot to Nasty C, right? No shot to anybody that's in that bracket. But if you really look at his trajectory, right, A. Reese has always been the alternative because we had Nasty C. Nasty C is the kid that is AKA Casper, blah 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 blah, right? Then that's tiring. When you're from the hood, you can't relate to that. So A. Reese has always been the alternative, right? But now let's look at people like Flame. Who's Flame? Flame doesn't have a archetype, right?
Nah, you'd have to compare to someone from overseas.
Exactly, right? But how did he carve his way? Consistency in music release,
100%.
right? So, and then you look at people like Benchmark, right? Benchmark, imagine if Benchmark had released as much music as their counterparts.
Yeah.
Where would they be?
I mean, I do believe that it would obviously be way better for them. I mean, they released an EP, which I wasn't a great fan of, but I don't know. I think also like they probably spend a lot of time working on their album as well, because I think, I mean, it's a pretty long album. I think it's about 16 or 18 track album.
Sure. So
let's say they at least recorded 50 songs for that album, right? At least. So that's very time consuming. Plus, you know, TK does most, if not all, the production from scratch himself. PJ is so they very like incubated, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So I do think for them it takes more time they just trying to do their own thing. Whereas I believe the way it is with, you know, your A. Reese, X Global, Echo, Words.
Yeah.
You literally, I can literally see my like Mash in a dungeon, like just
chopping away.
Just chopping.
But here's
beats,
another thing.
Mass production beats.
But here's another thing, though, right? I get that, but also I think branding, right? I think. Look, I think Benchmark are cool, but I don't think Benchmark fit in TWC.
No.
And I remember watching,
which is ironic because they're the ones that started it.
Not even trying. Let's not go into that. But because I remember a Slicker on Live interview, like one of the first interviews of TWC, the government, and it was a very interesting one because they were all sitting and they were like so nonchalant and high and whatever, and he asked, "Is this the whole government?" And they're like, yeah, this is the whole government. He's like, well, what about Benchmark? And one guy said Benchmark is not part of the government, but A. said Benchmark is, right? And that always left a question in my mind, that where does Benchmark really fit in the government? Is Benchmark part of the government? Is Benchmark part of the government because it's Letlhogonolo's brother's plug? Is Benchmark part of the government because if you really look at Letlhogonolo's career, Benchmark built Letlhogonolo's career.
100%.
Right. TK made the beats, the first beats. Before Mash joined the crew, TK made the first beats.
TK was the guy, yeah.
Right. Before anybody joined the crew, PJ was the one who trained him to record.
100%.
So now you ask yourself, where are these? Because rightfully, if we're really being real G about this, after A. Reese, Benchmark should have been.
They should have been the ones,
because they really built A. Reese.
So I think where it is with them is that because also they move together constantly.
Yeah.
They, like I said, they probably so incubated and so focused on their thing and trying, because also they grown men, they have children, bro. Like they trying to provide.
Oh wait, what? They have children?
Yeah, TK and PJ both have kids.
Oh shit. that makes it a different game.
So you gotta listen to the album.
Then it makes it. Then everything that I just said, let's scrap it out because when you have a child, bro, it's a different. Man, you heard Drake. You had that Drake album, bro. When you have a child, it's a different thing.
It
It's a
is.
different
So
thing.
these other guys, you know, Flame Words, Echo,
I mean,
X-Glow, they're all like, if you had to really, they just kids, bro.
plus again, they live in the same house.
Exactly. Like, they kids living their best life, doing the most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These other guys, Benchmark,
They got responsibility.
they got responsibilities. They got bills to pay. So for them, it's like, yo, bro, every move we need to do, because we don't have the leverage of the other big guys, right?
course.
We're not in that position. So every move we need to do, we need to think about how it's gonna put money in our pocket. You know, we can't just be wasting weekends on end, house parties,
parties,
and
smoking weed,
the whole fucking time.
because I would imagine, as you said, like Mash Beats is out there mass producing, the rest are just chilling on the couch smoking.
Yeah, them other the way I see it is like, I can literally see it in my mind right now. It's like wherever this crib is at, Mash Beats got a Mash Beats got a, you know, he's got a little dungeon room and he's got a desk maybe by the main chilling area. He's making beats. These niggas sitting on the couch. They got some weed over there. They got a TV playing some PlayStation and shit, and they just talking shit the whole time, getting drunk.
And the song
other
comes
niggas
out
in
of
another room fucking some bitches or some shit, and Mash is just playing beats. And they're like, oh shit, let's jump on. But which is actually, in a very horrible way, it's the best way you make hip hop music.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because
that
hip hop
dysfunction,
exactly.
that's hip hop.
Hip hop is,
It's dysfunctional.
it thrives on the dysfunction of life.
Hip hop is a dysfunctional genre, culture.
You know what I mean?
Bro, we celebrate misogyny. We are perverts. We are so many
Toxic
things.
masculinity, all of that.
All of that.
So that's what it thrives on, and that's why these guys are able
Those
to
are
just.
wild things to say, by the way. But
They are wild things to say, but they're the truth,
They're
and
the
that's
truth.
why this is the rhetoric.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't deny that.
I can't deny that.
We're not condoning. We're not saying it's the best thing. I mean, bro, it's 2019. We're trying to be better, more progressive. But at the end of the day,
Me, I love my women.
I would hope that's singular, not plural.
I mean, everybody, bro. Like I'm inclusive with it. You know what I mean?
my God.
I love all the women in the world. But yeah,
So, I mean, I honestly see it that way. Like, this guy is mass producing beats, and these guys are just like, well, we got flows, we got bars
let's
on
do it.
end. Let's do it. And some of the times you listen to the songs they make, it's like they're not even that deep, but they just fucking catch you, bro.
Yeah, they catch you.
Like,
Yeah,
look at the
very
song that they performed the other day. I think it's, I don't know what it's like, something calling or whatever. Bro, all the kids are singing this, and like the stuff he's saying is not that deep. I mean, the whole day today I was literally singing that song.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that deep, but they just know. And for me, like, I fuck with that model, because what they're doing is that they're using their platform, because they know they have the access and they know they have the platforms, you know, your
And they've
Apple
got the
Music,
fans.
your Spotify's, and so on and so on. And they just acting like SoundCloud rappers. SoundCloud rappers where you just, you know,
Mass producing.
just
hits.
mass producing hits and letting the fans decide, yo, what's what.
What's what? Yeah. Here's a question: is a Reese Drake light?
Yes and no. I would say yes, because you can tell that he's definitely a student. I would even go as far as saying he's definitely a child of Drake,
That's the best way to put it.
right? I would say that because he definitely, all the little nuances in his
Of
music
course.
have a Drake influence.
Okay.
You know, to an extent, you know, a lot of people would say he bites, but for me, I think a Reese is not built to be a Drake character.
Oh no.
Do you know what I'm saying? But remember also, a Drake character, the reason why Drake's music is the way it is because of his character.
Yes.
So for me, I do believe that it's like what you were saying the other day, that you can hear that a lot of the stuff that, you know, he raps about, it's like you even think like, damn, really? Like,
Yeah.
is that like for real?
Yeah.
Like, is that truthful, or are you just saying that because this is raps? You know what I mean? So I do believe that part of what the no part is the fact that his life is so much more grittier. Obviously, I mean, like, we're talking about someone with $200 million worth of net worth, right? Compared to someone that, you
But
know.
okay, yeah, okay.
But I will say this, that the reason why I say yes and no is that, okay, I've explained the yes. The no is that
he doesn't have the resources.
he doesn't have the resources to fully experience.
But what
Drake.
happens when he has the resources?
I,
Okay, we don't know that.
we don't know. I
don't
can't
know that.
account for
Sure,
the future.
we don't know that.
But what I do know for a fact is that a Reese even moves different. Like, because if Aries was a combination of his music and carried himself like a Nasty C, quote unquote, a more superstar-like kind of person, I would say fully yes. I would even go to the extent of saying this guy wants to be like Drake.
Yeah.
But I think Aries knows like what he wants to be like and who he is, and I think he also knows like not only what works for him musically, but also what works for his fans. Because if you listen to a lot of his projects, not just some of the singles that come out, the projects on the whole, it's a completely different game. He's if I would say the closest thing he is to Drake, I mean, I'm thinking of when Drake used to like heavy samples and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously we can, attribute that to mash beats, but I think on a whole, Aries is more of himself than Drake. On a whole, if you listen to his projects and you listen to everything that he does, and I mean, come on, how old is the guy? He's like 21, 22.
Here's my opinion.
Like, he'll grow up and
Right.
do his thing.
Here's my opinion. I think Aries is Drake light, but obviously, as you said, it's nuanced, right? I think, look, yes, you're right. From a resourceful point of view, he definitely isn't, right? From a flow, cadence, beat selection, so on and so forth, right? He is, right? I think the way he moves obviously is informed by so many things also. Is informed by so many rappers, is informed by so many lifestyle choices. Also, it's informed by guilt, right?
True.
Like you have a crew back home. I mean, Aries has always been rapping his crew, right? And you have a crew back home. You're gonna make it. You're gonna bring them together, so on and so forth. So, I think all of that is informed by so many different factors. But I think just from a musical point of view, I think Aries is Drake like, because I've listened to not a ton, but enough for me to go, okay, there's a lot of pre 2011 Drake. You understand? There's a lot of 2011 Drake. There's a lot of maybe 2013. Nothing was the same Drake in there. Obviously, the maturity doesn't allow him to fully be part of that situation or be part of that influence. But I feel like Aries in that manner, he is Drake light, right? I think Aries in that manner is Drake light. But just to wrap up, right? So we don't lose focus, right? Aries is still king. Aries is king.
I mean,
right?
Talk about that moment.
I mean, Aries is king. Aries proved it last night. Aries performed one of the hardest verses, responding to, I don't know if I should say the name, really. But
what was supposed to be his replacement at Ambitious?
What was supposed to be his replacement at Ambitious?
With no disrespect, of course.
And with no disrespect, and even Ambitious, right? And at that moment, he even showed an emotional side where after he performed the verse, he cried.
I mean, you don't have to speak in parables. So basically,
I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect people out here.
I mean, a lot of people probably weren't there, so you have to recognize that you have to explain the story. So,
Sure.
As you guys know, Ricky Rick has a song called "Pick You Up."
Sure.
And actually, that was one of the few times where he made a song that actually kind of like put Aries on, because remember, Aries wasn't getting a lot of clap from like the big mainstream guys after the Ambitious split.
Sure.
And Ricky Rick said, "Nah, screw that.
Fuck that.
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna put this guy on my song, and
Sure.
we're gonna and it fucking blew.
Sure.
That song blew.
Sure.
Because of Aries' verse. Because I know no.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
I know
Cool. I'll
everybody
take that.
listens to the point where it's like the beat switches up, so it even feels like a completely different song.
But by the way, like, T-Dub government fans are crazy, because on the Twitter page, it's different. It's different, but yeah.
So, I mean, Ricky Rick performs. Obviously, he's the last person to perform at Cotton Fest. It's his thing. He performs, and he performs that song. And the part comes in for Aries' verse. Bear in mind, Aries had just killed it downstage on stage 2 with T-Dub the government.
Yeah.
The fans went, like, the kids were wild, right? Ricky's like, oh no, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. Obviously, like, he's just queuing it up for Aries to come out.
Of course.
I mean, the kids are going crazy. They're screaming. the first maybe let's say 5 to 10 seconds of Aries' verse, he hasn't come out yet because he's probably still getting the mic, backstage, some. But the kids are still going wild. The kids are still going buck.
Mind you, I'm an old head, but I'm part of that fucking crowd. Yeah, that's my shit.
Exactly.
That verse is my shit.
And then Aries comes out, and he performs that shit, and you see him there, the energy. I mean, the energy,
the intention. It's like the whole crowd was ambitious. It's like the whole crowd was even Kitini, because the intention in his face.
Yeah.
Even after
it was just violent. It was violent.
It was violent. It was abrasive. It was direct, and it was like, yo,
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. And at that moment in time, that's when he took his crown as king of the streets.
100%. Because easily, I mean, if you think about the top, that's easily about maybe 2,000 people, 1,000 to 2,000 people. Granted, it's not 60,000 and fill up or whatever, but every single person, right until the back, was jumping. Bro, I've never seen anything
we clapped
like
for that kid when he cried, nigga. We were emotional.
Everyone was emotional,
bro.
Everyone was.
That kid had, like I say, I'm an old head, but that verse and that energy.
And I mean, even if you think about what he says, like the first couple of bars, the intent he says it with, it's like, man, fuck what's out now, it ain't hot. It's just hot now because I ain't dropped yet. And that was, I mean, he dropped that. It was before he dropped his album in 2017. I forgot what it was called. I listened to the album. I love it. And then T-Dub started, of course, just mass producing stuff. That was such a statement record at the time because no one had heard anything like on a broad scale.
And it was
from
on the
Aries.
And it was on the back of the beef between him and T.
Exactly.
Yeah? So it was such a look. To be honest, man, I'm not even trying to say much. The Trogonolo Matabuche, aka Aries, king of the streets. I give him that crown.
He's definitely the king of the streets.
King of the streets, bro. Let's kill it. I'm done. King of the streets, bro.
So that's it.
That's it, though. I'm done. Like, because there's nothing more we can say after that.
Yeah.
Cotton Fest was a jump. Ricky Rick is a god of culture, right? Like, Casper is that guy.
Yeah.
60,000, whatever. But
he's transcended.
But Ricky Rick is god of the culture. Yeah. And Aries is king.
Yeah.
That's it. Hip hop royalty. Whoop whoop.
So
episode 1, rap rhetoric.
That's
it. The rhetoric. I keep on calling it rap rhetoric.
Yeah. I mean, for this specific episode, you can say, because that's all it focused on.
Yeah.
But I guess that's it. So what? I don't know. It's probably on SoundCloud.
Yeah, SoundCloud, nigga. They should catch us on SoundCloud. Catch us on Twitter, bro.
Link it to like some Apple podcast as well, because I know you can do that. But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. And that was it. It's just a long ass conversation. And if you made it this far, we salute you.
Thank you to the 10 people listening. Shout out to Renee for housing us, and shout out to Mlu.
Shout out Mlu. Mlu, we need the beats.
He's got the energy out there. We need the beats for the podcast, bro. He's out here chilling, sipping on rolls.